Hello, Mgtow. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. I want to talk about the hidden power of female sexuality because it confers a great advantage upon the women, and its influence is stronger and more subtle and passive than you might think. As a matter of fact, there's a very passive nature involved in the application of female matriarchal power. And if you're not aware of it, it'll slip right past you. Like, you won't recognize what's going on, and the women will just be able to get away with it nonstop. And this is what's happening right now. So it's an important topic. It's an important subject that we need to talk about. But before I get into it, let me just say thank you to everybody who's been stopping by, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, even donating. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, click the bell symbol next to it, and accept the email notifications. It'll help me grow my channel, and you'll get email notifications whenever I release new content or go live, which I do a lot. Okay, so let's talk about the hidden power of female sexuality. Now, if most younger men will be honest, they will admit that they are a sucker for a beautiful, pretty woman. And it must be amazing for a young woman to realize that she can flirt her way out of a ticket, that she can flirt and charm her way into a good grade, that she can compromise teachers, police officers, judges, any of the men, who have any sort of authority over her. She has a hidden weapon that she can use to manipulate those men. But if she's too obvious with it, it loses its power. Part of its power is that it's an implied favor, okay? If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Understand the subtle nature of that. And if you're not nice to me, there's things that I can do behind the scenes regarding relationships and alliances and friendships that can harm you. And that isn't even said. Think about what the man wants from the woman. Think about what she's pretending to offer him. Think about what she's threatening to withhold from him. Also, I want you to keep something in mind. The more hungry you are, the more thirsty you are for anything, the more it is withheld from you, the more willingly you will sacrifice, the more compromises you will make to acquire it. And the easier that it is for you to get something, I'm referring to female affection, the less you will value it. So the very thing that you think that you want and you need, from a female point of view, it must be withheld from you in order that they can control you. And the more desperate you are for it, the more they can control you. And the more subtly they can control you. In other words, they don't have to promise you anything. It's all on the if come. It's all that you're going to take her out, that you're going to spend money on her, that you're going to protect her, that you're going to entertain her, and she might let you give her a kiss on the cheek. Understand further that if you can make the men feel unworthy, in other words, it behooves the woman to pretend that any physical contact with a man is the most horrible imposition that life could impose upon her. In other words, a man looked at me as I was walking down the street. I felt so violated. A man tried to talk to me on an elevator, or he said something to me. When will the oppression end? I was in a room, and there were men in that room also. What could you expect me to do? I mean, this is how extreme that aspect of it is played. Understand that it's an entire psychodrama that's being played out. Children do this. Children pitch fits. They threaten to pitch a fit unless they get what they want. It's a form of emotional blackmail. But there are many levels of it, especially between the male and the female, that are so subtle, that are so passive, that are so merely implied, that are so merely accepted as part of the background conversation, that we are influenced, that our behavior, that our thoughts, that our feelings are influenced. You know that in a crowd, a woman could slap a man across the face, and if he responded by slapping her back, everybody in that crowd would jump on that man and say, how dare you? Actually, you really could not get away with that. They would even assume that the original slap that she delivered to the man was acceptable. In other words, the question would be, well, I wonder what he did to make her do that. And the response will be, how dare, given the fact that he had that coming, how dare he respond back? Now, I'm sure many of you are listening to this and just, smiling and saying, yeah, well, that's a difficult, rare kind of circumstance. No, use it as a metaphor. Let's say you're at a business meeting and a new female employee suggests that you give away, $100 gift certificates to each prospective customer client. And there's, hundreds of them. And you're like, no, that's a really bad idea, Betty. I really think you need to think these things through a little more. The customer might like it, but it would make us go broke. And then she starts to almost cry. And she accuses you of insulting and disparaging her ideas and not letting her be a part of the company. So in other words, she does something inappropriate. The man calls her on her inappropriate behavior. She plays the victim, and everybody in the room feels sorry for her. And it's automatic. And she knows this, but you don't. You're actually responding to the things she says, as if, it's a logical debate. And she can pull you into this trap easily. So there's at least 3 or 4 subtle, implied, passive, on the if-come influences of female sexuality. Not a word needs to be spoken. This is what gives gynocentrism so much power. This is part of it. There is a form of power that women have over men. Men want something from women, and it requires, to a large degree, their cooperation. The man has to win this from the woman. This creates a huge set of opportunities for exploitation and manipulation. Most of them are hidden from you as a man. Most of them you are unaware of. Consider these variables, these dynamics that I've spoken of, and consider, like in the group context, consider how these views and ideas of gynocentrism influence the other men around you. So it's not even like, okay, I've got my head wrapped around these variables, so now I can interact safely with, the ability to predict the outcome and not get pulled into these foolish traps. But it's working on everybody else around you as well. And if she can create a consensus, this is why a woman can drive a wedge between, a group of men. This is why she wants the attention the minute that she comes in. This is why she giggles and twirls her hair as she walks up. She has nothing of substance. It is her presence in and of itself that is the strongest influence. So you're in a group of men, a woman walks up, and the other men in the group start plotting against you because they're competing for the woman. And you're completely unaware of it. But she's not unaware of it. Consider also that exerting this type of influence is as subtle as saying something like, you're not going to wear that, are you? Or, you know what day it is, don't you? Even in a female's tone of voice, she is using this influence. And the men, even if they are aware of it on the surface, they're missing 75, 80% of the influence that's really being exerted. They're missing who's really calling the shots. They're missing whose emotions and concerns and feelings are considered primary. They're missing who everyone is jumping through hoops to please. They don't understand it. And it's even implied. It's not like, if you don't do what we say, we're going to punish you. It's, if you don't do what we say, the group is going to reject you. Your mother will be very unhappy with you. And it's enforced peer-to-peer by the group. The confrontation with the woman, all of the men in that public square are going to jump on you. The one woman walking up to the group, all of the men are competing for her and will betray you now. Or at least, there's this element of that. So I just wanted you to be aware of, some of these influences. It really is like you think you're playing a game of poker, pardon the pun, but the woman that you're playing against, she has another deck of cards that she holds in her lap, and she can just pick any card she wants to match up with any card in her hand. So you can't win that game. That's how much of an advantage she has with the subtle, hidden, passive power of female sexuality, and how strongly it can influence the situation when you're not even aware that its influences and that its power is being used So hopefully, as a man, this will help you see some of the ways that it's being done and understand it's being done on a societal, civilizational level. And hopefully you'll be able to protect yourself a little bit better from it, not fall into the traps, and be able to maneuver around it. Because that's the focus of Mgtow, trying to help the man not get destroyed in a gynocentric world, right? So it's not like every video is going to be groundbreaking and revolutionary. It's just going to possibly be sharing some insights with you that might be helpful. It's not a glorious attempt to get views or make money. It is an attempt to help men to share what we think is valuable and for it to be sustainable, so that you're not losing money on the proposition on what you're doing. Men are not sacrificial animals. Things don't exist for free. You must, okay, it's a different message. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, Mgtow.